Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about the post-university blues. This is a video that I wish that I had found when I just finished uni because I didn't really know that it was a thing. I didn't really know that there was such thing as feeling this kind of way after uni. So if you've just finished, you've just graduated, or obviously, you know, in this case, not everybody is graduating from uni because of the current circumstances, and you want a bit of help and a bit of guidance because you're feeling a bit low, then just continue to watch this video. So I'm going to start off by talking about what I mean by post-uni blues. And for me, this is almost dipping into a slight depression, low mood, just feeling generally quite down once you've finished uni, and perhaps you can't put your finger on why, or you're not sure, you don't really have anything in particular that makes you feel this way, but you just know that you feel down. And that's kind of what I mean. You just feel blue, you feel down, you feel in a depressive state now that you've graduated and that part of your life is over. So I did write a blog post all about my experience with my post-uni blues. I wrote that fresh 3 months after I graduated, and then it hit me. So I will link that in the description box below. And when I was writing that blog post, I was searching to find some facts and just to kind of see, was I the only one that was struggling with this, and how many students do actually struggle with this post-uni blues. And I came across an article by Cosmopolitan, the magazine, that said 49% of students felt that though their mental health was affected after they finished uni, which is essentially half the amount of students once they graduated experienced a dip in their mood, in their mental health once they graduate, which is huge. And I think it's so big that not enough people are talking about it. Perhaps they don't experience it or they're not acknowledged it, but for me, I think it's really important that if you are feeling this way, to acknowledge it, to talk about it, and just so other people feel like they're not alone. I think really that's what I want to make this video for, is that if you're feeling this way, I want you to know that you're not on your own. It is normal to feel a dip after you've finished, and hopefully this video can help you in any kind of way. So that's kind of what I mean by defining it, and some stats and figures. And now just kind of like moving on to the general feelings that I felt after I finished. So I just felt like after I finished uni, you feel so proud of yourself. This is a huge part of your life that has just come to an end. You've had this graduation ceremony. Well, for me, obviously, I know what's going on in 2020. People aren't really graduating, but for me, I had this graduation, and then after all of that, it was like this huge anticlimax because I hadn't had any work lined up. I didn't really know what was next for me. And yeah, you finish uni, you've had this really big moment, you're so proud, and it's like, now what? This huge anticlimax. And you can't help but just feel like just a bit sad. It's an end of an era, it's an end of a chapter, it's an end of you being a student, so you're coming into adulthood, and you just kind of feel a bit like, okay, now what? That was fun, great. What I'm meant to do now, not everybody has it all figured out, although you might feel like everybody has their lives figured out. It really isn't like that at all. So for me, I just found like you just go from having this amazing life, you go to uni, you have your uni friends, your student house, you have your routine Monday to Friday. I come in uni, Wednesday I might have a day off, I'll go to the gym, then I'll do a food shop on Monday, then I might go out for drinks on a Thursday, I'll go out on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday I might work, and then Sunday I'll chill, get ready for Monday. So for 3 years you've kind of had your routine, you've had your independence, you've had this new exciting life where there's so many new challenges, new opportunities, and it just feels like 3 years full of fun and new and excitingness. And once you finish, I don't think you really expect that all of that is going to be gone. And this is just my experience, and the experience that I found just researching the little bit that I did from other people was that a lot of people are going to be moving back in with their parents, and you've had 3 years of living on your own, cooking your own stuff, kind of living how you want, becoming an adult, and then you're kind of thrown back into living with your family again, and it's like, what is this? For some people, they will absolutely love it. Their parents can do the washing and the cooking again. For other people, it's going from having this independence and becoming more of an adult and then thrown straight back into where you were when you were 18 and you were kind of dying to move out and now you're back there. So for a lot of people, the loss of the independence is huge, and it's one big reason why they do dip into a slight low mood depression, because this whole excitement is gone. And not only that, a lot of people will be moving from different cities. So I mean, for me, when I was living with my parents, they lived in Rugby and I studied in Nottingham, so I went from a town to a city. I'd never lived in a city before, so even that can be a huge change for people moving different places. And if you're used to living in a city and having everything around you, having things literally on your doorstep, like we had loads of different kind of shops, just so many things that you don't have available when you live in a town. And I literally lived 5 minutes from the city centre as well. So going from a town to a city was such a huge change, and then you kind of get used to it. You quite like having things just on the doorstep, or just going to nip into Topshop, or I just need to nip to Tesco's, or I'm going to go out for some cocktails, and you can just walk home. Having that luxury being taken away from you. And obviously I don't live with my mum and dad now. I moved from my Nottingham student house in with my boyfriend and his family, which live in a village. So I went from living in a town to living in a city in uni, from a city to a village, and I haven't lived in a village in a very long time. So there's also that huge culture shock of going from a really big city, having everything readily available, to living in a village where the shop is a local co-op, really small, obviously more expensive than the Aldi that I had on my doorstep, and you don't have the luxury of just nipping here, nipping there. You have to pre-plan things, so that can be a huge change for people as well. And for me, I didn't really mind it. I think I'm not really a city person, I'm not a village person either, but I prefer towns. But that can be a huge shock for people, and a reason why they dip is because you've got this change of what you've got around you and your habitat and that kind of thing. And not only that, you're missing your friends. I know for me, none of my uni friends live close. All of my uni friends are in London. So for me, we are 3 hours away now from each other. So just seeing my friends and living with my friends, even though, like I've said in my other videos, towards the end of uni, I didn't want to live with my friends anymore. They can all vouch for that. I think they felt the same. But then when you go from just living with your best friends to seeing them twice a year, that's a huge shock. And I think we were naive when we were at uni. We'll all see each other every other month, and then you get jobs, your life happens. Obviously we've had the coronavirus, so we haven't seen them, but that's a huge change as well. Your best friends potentially are not going to be living with you or just around the corner. So that could be another reason why people do dip into the depression after they've graduated, because you don't live with your friends, you don't have that person to go and chat to every now and again. Hopefully you've got some friends where you live. Obviously I'm not living where I used to live with my family, so I have 1 or 2 friends where I live here, but that are friends I've made because of work. And even then I really struggled with not having my kind of people that I got comfortable with for 3 years around me anymore. So you do feel lonely unless you've got really good home friends, because you don't have those people that you can just go and talk to about silly little things that potentially your partner doesn't really care about, or it's not really a huge thing. So having the loss of routine, the independence, your friends, as well as you've graduated now, and this pressure to have your life figured out, is a big reason why I slipped into feeling quite down. And now moving on to kind of my experience and how I felt specifically, is I just felt really hopeless. I was questioning myself whether uni was the right choice for me. Had I made a wrong decision? Was it a waste of time? I kind of allowed myself up until graduation to not worry too much about work. I was waitressing full time, actively looking for other jobs, and it wasn't until Christmas time really that my friends started to get jobs. And then you think, oh okay, like you obviously are happy for them, but what about me? More time went by, I had no interviews, I had no interest in places that I was applying to, and I'll get more into those kind of things, looking for jobs and life after uni in a separate video, but just in terms of how I felt mentally just doing that, it was really tough. I applied for so many jobs, and I applied for over 60 jobs and no one got back to me. No employers. I didn't get invited to any interviews. A lot of employees didn't even message back to say no. You were just sitting around waiting for an application to come back that never did. So the pressure to find work is really on, and I think mainly I put that pressure on myself, because up until that point I had everything figured out. I knew I was doing A-levels, I knew I was going to uni, I knew what degree I was going to be studying, and then that's it, you're chucked out of the education system and you're left on your own. You have to find things on your own. The opportunities aren't as readily available as they were at uni, so you have to do all the digging on your own, and that's really tough. I really struggled to find a job, and I only just found one, and then Corona hit 2.5 weeks into my first job, and now I'm here. So I sort of feel in the same place as I did almost when I was 18, looking at what I was going to do with my life, but now I'm sat here in loads of debt with a degree that I'm potentially using or not using. But the pressure to find a job is huge, as well as all the other changes that you're trying to adjust to. You've then also got this huge pressure now of what's next, what you're going to do with your life. You've got this degree, what you're going to do with it. I think people naturally want to ask, oh, okay, have you applied for jobs? Have you heard anything back? What are you going to do now? Because they're just natural questions that people ask once you graduate, because they're taking an interest in you and what you're going to do. Which for any normal person is just a normal question to ask, but when you're already feeling quite low and somebody's asking you, have you applied for a job? Did you hear back from that job? What are you doing now? It almost feels like they're having a dig at you, as if like, what are you doing now? You can't just sit on your ass for a couple of months, you've got to do something. And every time somebody asks, what are you doing? Have you applied for a job? Have you heard back from the job? What kind of sector are you going to go into? Have you applied for this? Have you applied for that? Oh, I found this job for you, found that job for you. Like, I actually can't even breathe. Everything is so overwhelming. The whole change from living at university and being a student and now being postgraduate and trying to find a job, everything was too overwhelming. And you can really understand at that point, having been through all of the changes and now the pressure to find a job, why people do dip into a depression and feel down after uni, because it's such a huge change from this excitingness to really quite like a smack in the face that this is real life and adulthood. Okay, get on with it then. What are you going to do? What have you been doing for 3 years? And how are you going to put that degree into place? My experience with the post-uni blues is that it was tough, and it didn't last just 1 or 2 months. It really did last quite a few months, and it kind of only really changed once I felt I had an opportunity coming up or a job that would come up. And obviously now with how things have changed, I could potentially be back there, and I would have graduated a year ago. So the post-uni blues aren't necessarily just a couple of weeks after you finish, you think, oh, well, now the fun's over, real life starts. It can be up to a year, or until you're given this opportunity, or you feel like you've got a new routine coming into place, that things might shift a bit. And everybody, of course, is different. Some people will have a job lined up straight after uni, or will have things planned, or taking a year out and travelling, or just doing hospitality or retail, and then they'll find a job. But for me, I really strive when I have a structure and a routine. I tend to do my best and feel my best when I have a lot of stability and familiarity with what's going on in my life. And at uni, I felt like I blossomed because I knew, okay, for 3 years, I've got a plan. For 3 years, I know this is what I'm studying first year. In second year, I'm going to do this. And in third year, I'm going to do this. And you don't really think about what you can do after until really you're pretty much there. So for 3 years, I had this plan, this routine, this structure. Every day was kind of the same. Each week was kind of the same. And then you'd have your breaks from uni, and then you would have this relaxation. You'd see friends, you do this, and go on holiday. And you had this structure and routine for 3 years. And then you're chucked out of uni and you're like, okay, so I guess I'm looking for jobs every day, or I'm working full-time waitressing, and you see your friends get jobs and you see your friends doing things and you can't help but compare yourself. And I'm just going to move on to now some tips that I can try and offer to people and suggest to people that if you are feeling really low now that you've graduated and uni is over, these are some things that helped me or that I can suggest, which is to just not compare yourself to what your friends are doing or what's happening with everybody else, because it might be that not everything's as it seems. They may have just got this new job straight away just after uni, but it might be because they've volunteered there for a few years, or they've got networks, or they're starting in a family business, or it might be that they have this new job which is really amazing that they're trying to put across to you, but in reality it could be long hours, low pay, not exactly what it's made out to be, and then they move jobs. So not everything is as it seems, and try not to compare yourself to other people. Try not to put too much pressure on yourself to have everything figured out, which I know is a lot harder said than done, because I'm the worst person at putting pressure on myself. But it really doesn't get you anywhere, and if you're in this such low mood, then it affects your motivation to look for jobs and to put yourself out there and to go to interviews and all those kind of things. If you're feeling so unmotivated because you just think, what's the point, then you won't progress. So really try not to compare yourself and see what your friends are doing and why doesn't that happen to you yet. And just to talk about things, I'm sure you probably have one person in your life that you can turn to. I have a couple of people, so I spoke to my boyfriend about things, his parents about things, my parents about things, my friends about certain things as well. But also for me, writing the blog post was just my way of saying, this is how I feel, I'm just going to write it all down. Because sometimes when you write things down, you can process it better when you actually see it there in front of you and you connect things. Yeah, this is how I'm feeling. And publishing that was another way for me to kind of really see exactly how I'm feeling and how I've linked things this way and why I'm feeling like this. It's because I've not got this routine, I've not got the independence, I've not got the friends, I've not got the job, I've not got all of these things. Of course I'm feeling this way. Also too, if like obviously you've come across this video, perhaps potentially you've come across this video and this is the first one you've seen of me because you're feeling this way, and you're finding other people talking about stuff, and then when you start to open up, especially with your friends that you've gone to uni with, and say, look, I am actually really struggling, they might say, do you know what, I've been struggling as well. Living at home isn't everything that I remembered it to be. I quite like living on my own. Or that perhaps that they're struggling with moving from a city to a village again, or living in different towns, and they quite enjoyed the life that they had at uni. People, once you start a conversation, will open up and respond to that, and you could be surprised that you are not the only one feeling like this, and other people are feeling like it as well. And just because some people have got jobs and they have started their potential career, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not also dealing with the post-uni blues as well in other aspects, such as the independence and the friends and the free time that they had, and feeling the loss of that as well. Because you can just go from doing uni for 3 years and then go straight into a job, and you've had no break. Some people do it that way, so they've had no time to digest the 3 years that they've had. They've gone straight into work and life, working full time, and they've kind of had no break. And some people can then eventually hit a brick wall where they can't do it, they're stressed, potentially the job isn't what they thought, and then they hit the post-uni blues. So it can hit people at certain points and potentially doesn't hit some people at all. So talk about things, find a new routine as well. And like I was saying, I was working full-time waitressing, but I was actively looking for other jobs as well. So I would try and do, okay, so on a Monday and a Wednesday, because I didn't want to spend, at one point it got consuming. I was looking for jobs every day. I was applying for 10, 20 jobs a day. Jobs that I weren't degree related, jobs that I actually didn't care about, were really bad money. I just applied for the sake of applying to hopefully find something. And when you do it like that, your applications are quite poor. So the whole finding a job and needing to prove to people that going to uni was for a reason got consuming. So I then shortened that down from looking and applying every day to spending 1 or 2 days a week really trying to put my time into applications, looking for jobs. What kind of thing do I think I'll like? What kind of sector do I want to go into? Is it business? Is it law? Is it potentially neither of those things? And I will start something else to try and build experience. It really, trying to find a new routine for me was really important. Like I said, I strive when I have a routine and when I have a structure, so finding a new one was really a positive thing for me. So I'd work Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, it really depended, and I would set aside 1 or 2 days really trying to look for jobs and putting time into applications, and Sunday would be my chill day. I'm not working, I'm not looking for jobs, I'm going to do me, make sure to set time aside for self-care, and also setting time aside to see your friends from uni, to see your home friends, to talk to people, to reminisce about, even though it was a couple of months ago, the times that you had, and to really just, you kind of want to, as well as finding the new routine, to find a new routine with your friends. And it was really important for me to keep those friendships alive. I am so bad at keeping in touch with people because I've moved around a lot. I've gone to lots of different schools and I've had troubles in friendships before. It's really easy for me to cut people off, and that might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing. It is hard for me to keep a friendship going that isn't convenient, and I think sometimes you can have these friendships that you don't realise until after you've only had because it's convenient to be their friend. So for me, that was the friends I had at school. I probably only keep in touch with 1 or 2 of them now, but most of them I was friends with them for convenience, because I see them every day at school, I talk to them every day because of school, so you feel like you're really good best friends because you see them every day, not because you actually care about each other and you want to continue that friendship after school. And sometimes that can be the case for uni. I've known a couple of 1 or 2 people that I went to uni with that I thought I was really great friends with, but really when you leave uni you realise that you were really good friends with them because you went to uni together, because you had classes together, or because you've lived together at one point, or all these kind of things. You were really great friends, but then as soon as you don't live together anymore, you don't go to uni with each other anymore, the friendship lacks. And my 2 best friends that live in London, they're twins, I really wanted to keep that friendship because that's one of the best friendships that I've had in a long time, where I felt like it's reciprocated. I care about them, they care about me, they are like my sisters. And when you find friendships like that with people that really care about you and bring you up and make you feel positive, you have to work to keep them. So for me, it was so important to try and keep those friendships, and even though they live hours away and it isn't really convenient for me to see them, I need to keep messaging. We need to reminisce about when we lived together, when we went on holidays together, to see each other and spend quality time with each other now that we aren't living together and we aren't at uni anymore, which we did try and keep up. Obviously with what's going on right now, we are probably due a trip to see each other. The last time we saw each other was in December, so usually we do December and summer, so we're due to see each other soon. Hopefully we can, but making the effort to do that, and just have, you've got your new life in a new chapter now, and to just kind of find a peace with that, and to find a new routine, find new things that make you happy, and find new things that are really positive in your life, because it's so easy to be consumed by what was and how great life was when you were at uni, and now you're in this unknown. But to stay in that point is so hard, and it is easy just to stay in this slump of unhappiness, hopelessness. Was it the right thing? I'm not doing what my friends are doing. And to try and pull yourself out of that and actively want to think and change your mindset, because it's just really important. You have to change that. I think it's important to feel those emotions and to appreciate them and understand them, but you also have to come to a point then where you just think, okay, I went to uni, I've graduated, I don't necessarily have everything figured out, I potentially don't have any jobs at the minute, I've not had no interviews, but things will come. And there's a quote that I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's something along the lines that things that are meant for you will always find you. I'll insert the quote now, but essentially what it means is whatever is meant for you will always be yours. So a job that is meant for me, that I'm meant to do, will come along, and it might be that you have to wait a little bit longer than anyone else, but it might be because that opportunity is that much better and so good for you and amazing, and that you have to wait. And I think for me, I have to tell myself, otherwise you just go crazy, is that the reason I didn't get those interviews before, the reason that employers didn't get back to me, the reason that I had to wait longer than what my friends did to get jobs and to hear back, is because an opportunity is coming for me that is so much better than what could have come up before for me. And potentially, if they had come up before when I was in that really down and low state, would I have taken it? Would I have appreciated it? Would I have even seen it? Potentially not. So even if you do have to wait a little bit longer to get that job, or to feel this new sense of normal, new routine, just think that you will get there. You will find a job, and potentially you're waiting a bit longer because it's an opportunity that is so much better than what you could have thought. So that's just some tips and things that I've learned since graduating uni, and I think it's really important, like I said at the beginning, to have these conversations, to talk to people about how you're feeling, just in general about your mental health, but specifically about once you finish uni, because I don't think everyone realises that you have this amazing opportunity that you've had for 3 years, and you finish and it's like, okay, now what? Everything's changed again. So just continue to talk to people, keep those connections and those friendships what you had at uni, and try and find a new positive routine that works for you now that your life has changed. So I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Like I said before, I have wrote a blog post all about how I felt, a fresh account of how I felt after uni. So I'll link that down below, as well as all my other social medias. Please check out my Instagram as well. I'm really trying to put time and effort into that now, take some better quality pictures. So I'll leave my handle here for my Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment, because I really like to have messages with you guys back and forth, and to also just start conversations surrounding this topic as well. So other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.